Well, here we are. We're in Africa, in Nairobi, in Kenya. And the last week has been fantastic and exciting and inspiring because we've been at the World Social Forum, a huge gathering of grassroots groups from around the world. What Jai Sen calls one of the most significant social inventions in the last 100 years. And the reason it's so important is because it's people's movements coming together. It's not government agencies, it's not state-sponsored, it's very much people building power from the ground up and coming together to network, to share their energy, their inspiration, and gathered under the banner that another world is possible. It's exciting that the World Social Forum this year happened in Africa. It's the first time it's ever happened here, and that's really important because Africa is often seen in a very one-dimensional, stereotypical way. Many people think of Africa as the World Vision ads of starving children covered in flies, and there's a sense of pity. Who wants pity? Nobody wants pity, and the people here don't want pity. They want understanding, and they certainly need support, but what's really needed is empowerment for people to make decisions and changes on their own. And that's what we see happening at the World Social Forum. We see people coming together to offer their own solutions. And the groups that we met were incredibly inspiring. The Dalits were one such group of women, also known historically as the untouchables of India. And they were here in full force and talking about their worldview and their way of living as a potential model for all of us to follow, because they support each other, they care for each other, they live in a sustainable way. And far from being this despised, downtrodden group of people, they come across as an empowered, inspired group of people who have much to teach us. Perhaps one of the most inspiring movements, and certainly an inspiration to the entire world, is the Green Belt movement, founded by the Nobel Peace Prize winner Wangari Maathai. It's a women's-based movement that has planted over 20 million trees throughout Africa, and it's spread around the world, so other women's groups around the world are picking up this idea of planting trees. And it's much more than planting trees. It's a women's empowerment initiative, it's an education initiative, it's an AIDS education initiative. The women also have developed self-sustaining farms, which are very similar to the permaculture approach, where there's no pesticides used, where they create what's called food security. So they're feeding themselves from their land and not focusing on export economies, instead developing a sense of self-sufficiency. All over Kenya, these trees are sprouting up, and they're bringing back the bird life. They said in one forest that they replanted, there's now 23 species of birds that were before there were none. The water supplies are being improved, erosion is being stopped, and it's also very, very beautiful. We went out to one of the big slums, Kamangi, which is a slum of something like 700,000 people, and met with a hip-hop group of youth who use hip-hop and graffiti art as a tool of social change. And we sat in on their meeting, and everyone there, they go around the room and everyone takes a turn at introducing themselves and then breaking into some freestyle rap, which was really amazing to see. And the lyrics are conscious and about elevating consciousness, and they take the issues of the community and put them into rhyme, and that becomes a form of education and self-empowerment, because this is very much, again, a self-organized group. It's not somebody coming in from the outside and saying, hey, why don't you do this? It's the youth getting together themselves and saying, this is what we need, this is what we can offer, this is how we want to do it.
Natafuta tu akili, mimi si fisi, lakini wasanii mtaani nikiongea ninajihisi, na mimi siwezi najisi, wakina dada wasanii mtaani hip hop ya love. Hip hop ni culture ya love ambayo yuleta pamoja wasanii wa mtaa. Wasanii mtaa. Hip hop ni culture ya love ambayo yuleta pamoja wasanii wa mtaa. Wasanii mtaa. Hip hop ni culture ya love ambayo yuleta pamoja wasanii wa mtaa.
And it's the same thing with Africa as a whole. Africa has so much to teach the rest of the world. We talk to people who espouse the South African ideal of Ubuntu, which means you are, therefore I am. This is the opposite of I think, therefore I am, this fragmented Descartesian worldview, rationalism and individualism and selfishness, really. Ubuntu is about belonging, a sense of belonging, and we heard the same thing in New Zealand amongst the Maoris, that I am, therefore I belong, this idea that we exist in community, we exist in relation, similar to the Buddhist idea of interbeing, which we'll also be exploring down the road. And you really see Ubuntu in action at the World Social Forum, and that, I think, is a big part of what it is. It's about coming together in community as both our local communities and networking into the broad global community. And I really see that in the social movements we've explored in the last few weeks, people have been creating a new world for themselves. And that, I think, is very spiritual. That's evolution. I think there's an evolution of consciousness involved in the idea that another world is possible. It's a new world, and it's a world that will look different than the worlds that's come before.